Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all identities and sexualities, and welcome back to another Doctor Who review. Apologies for the delay. This would have been out on the weekend, but as you've most probably seen already on my channel, I was out on Saturday at Hadestown at the Lyric Theatre. If you haven't seen my video on that, go check it out. The play is phenomenal, so I definitely recommend going and seeing it. But without further ado, let's get into the review of Rogue. Our story starts with the Doctor and Ruby Sunday in 1813. The pair have gone to a ball to enjoy some lovely dancing. But the dancing isn't the only thing afoot on that night. As we soon come to learn, the Doctor and Ruby are in for a spot of trouble. The first point of trouble the Doctor engages in is he notices a peculiar young man standing upon a balcony, watching over the party. The Doctor uses his sonic to detect the young man and notices that he has technology way beyond that period and time. So, out of curiosity, he goes to investigate him. When the Doctor approaches him, he comments on his posture. He goes, "Smolder, good." But a bit more frown. And the man responds, "I didn't know that the Duchess employs a court jester." "Well, I'm hilarious," the Doctor says back to him. And so the banter begins. The pair of them laugh off, and they soon get to a stalemate when the Doctor realizes that the Rogue, as he calls himself, has come to hunt down an alien fugitive or species who intends to cause trouble in the time zone. The Doctor gets soon mistaken for one of these creatures, and so Rogue takes him back to the ship to analyze and to investigate whether he is the bounty that Rogue is looking for. When they arrive at Rogue's ship, the Doctor is identified as a shapeshifter, and so Rogue entraps him in a containment field. Meanwhile, the Doctor mocks Rogue, playing around with his instruments, using the sonic screwdriver to set off his music playlist. After hearing the song playing, the Doctor begins to laugh. "Classic!" he shouts, dancing around in his containment cage. Rogue constantly attempts to turn off the music, but due to the capabilities of the Doctor's sonic device, this backfires on Rogue multiple times, and the Doctor is left standing laughing. After that, Rogue then notices something strange about the Doctor's appearance and his shapeshifting. He soon learns that the Doctor has had many incarnations and many personalities, and even some that the Doctor can't himself remember start to appear around him on the screen. The Doctor points out that he's much older than he looks and much more powerful, and that he is not a shoulder, and that Rogue has the wrong person. One of the faces that appears is Jo Martin's fugitive Doctor. I will go into more depth in another video about this character, but as we know, we learn about this incarnation in the 13th Doctor series, and we learn that she is a previous incarnation who seems to have taken place way before the previous Doctors, or somewhere along the timeline that we just don't know yet. Another mysterious incarnation that pops up, which personally I don't know where he fits in on the timeline, but I'm glad that he is acknowledged, is the Shulker Doctor. The Shulker Doctor is a 2003 Doctor who was in an animation called Scream of the Shulker. He's played by Richard E. Grant, which this is not the first time Richard E. Grant has played the Doctor. He has also played the Doctor in The Curse of Fatal Death, a Red Nose Day special. But yeah, the Shulker Doctor is officially canon. Meanwhile, elsewhere, the Shoulders, the bird-like creatures, have slowly been infiltrating the Duchess's party. and becoming many of the guests and members of staff. They first started with the housemaid and then went for Lord Byron, and even now they have overtaken the party by becoming the Duchess herself, soon developing their ways and infiltrating for their chaos and destruction they intend to cause. Meanwhile, unknowing to her, Ruby, on her little side quest with a group of people in the party, has found herself in the clutches of the shoulders. One of them even intended to kill Ruby and take her form. The Doctor and Rogue reunite with Ruby and her friend, and soon explain to them that the shoulders have slowly been taking over the party, and to get their attention, the pair must cause the biggest controversy as they can. So, what's the biggest controversy the Doctor and Rogue can do in 1813? Well, both as men, they can dance in front of a room full of guests and cause and stir up controversy about their relations between each other. The pair dance in the spotlight. The whole room becomes a shadow as the two are enveloped in each other's relationship and their acquaintance between each other. The Doctor soon finds himself torn and tells Rogue to do anything to attract the attention of the shoulders, and Rogue gets down on one knee and proposes to the Doctor with a ring in his hand. The Doctor later on in the episode recounts his promise to Ruby's mother, and he recounts the fact that he promised he would keep Ruby safe. He soon begins to break down when he believes that the shoulders have killed Ruby and taken on her form. He asks Rogue how long the shoulders can live for, and Rogue replies 600 years. The Doctor, out of anger, points out 600 years is long enough for them to suffer. And so Rogue soon sees a darker side of the Doctor that he never thought he would. The pair return to the shoulders and trap them in a force field, but soon they learn that within the trap, the Ruby duplicate is not a duplicate at all, and it actually is Ruby Sunday. The Doctor begins to break down into tears as he has one option left. He either presses the button and sends the shoulders into another dimension, or he faces the consequences and lets the shoulders take over the world on the universe and plunge it into chaos. Rogue asks the Doctor whether he can choose between the universe and the planet and his friend, and the Doctor breaks down into tears and points out to Rogue that he can't do it. Rogue kisses the Doctor and reassures him that he knew that he could not make that decision, and so he takes Ruby's place and says one last message to the Doctor. He says, "Come find me. Doctor, come find me." Rogue falls through the force-filled trap and is sent to another universe, and the Doctor is left heartbroken. His love for Rogue is unmissable, and Ruby reassures him as he places down a flower and leaves the room. Ruby hugs the Doctor tight while sitting next to him on the steps and points out that the Doctor has no reason to hide his pain of the loss of Rogue. And the Doctor points out that he's not hiding it, but he's got to keep going on, because Rogue has given him something to fight for, has given him a reason to keep going. Ruby mentions that they can go and find him, and the Doctor points out that there are so many dimensions, but he doesn't dismiss the idea of searching for Rogue, as he in his own mind knows he would love to go and find him again. So he puts Rogue's ring on his finger as a final acceptance of his own feelings towards Rogue. So, ladies and gentlemen, Rogue, a story about beautiful gay love. Was it a good story? Well, ladies and gents, I think it was a phenomenal story. The arc, the story, the classic runabout, the way that it kind of reminds you of a good old classic Doctor Who story. Um, just the interpretations of the characters in general. Big up to the writers who wrote this episode, and please come back, guys, because you can tell a story, and for that reason, I'm giving Rogue a 10 out of 10. Thank you, ladies and gents, for watching, and we will see you in the next Doctor Who review. Until then, stay beautiful, and love is love.